Hello. This voucher briefing means that you have been selected from the Housing Choice Voucher, formerly Section 8 waiting list, and have been found eligible to receive a voucher. Today, we're going to discuss what the voucher is, the rules of the voucher program, and how to use the voucher to find a suitable rental property. The voucher program is a federally funded HUD rental assistance program. First, we will go over the voucher together, and I will explain the rules of the program before you sign the voucher. Currently, you are a selected applicant off the voucher waiting list. You are not a voucher participant until you turn in a unit that is approved and your rental assistance begins. There are 2 copies of the voucher. One is your personal copy to keep while searching for a rental unit, and the other must be returned to our office. At the top right-hand corner of the voucher, you will see a notation, a handwritten notation, either stating our area, VHDC, or anywhere. This notation is to let you know how you can use your voucher. If you were living, working, or attending school in Lehigh County Housing Authority jurisdiction and met the preference for that on the waiting list, you will have an anywhere voucher, meaning you can search for a rental unit anywhere and have the voucher transferred at this time. We'll discuss more about that later. If your voucher says VHDC, you have met the preference for living in an affordable housing unit currently, but paying more than 30% of your income toward your rent. If this is the case, you must remain in your current residence for 1 year in order to qualify for this preference. If your voucher says our area, you have not met the residency preference for the Lehigh County Housing Authority and must do so for 1 year in order to qualify for this voucher. That means that you must move into Lehigh County Housing Authority jurisdiction, excluding the cities of Allentown and Bethlehem. Further down the right side of the voucher, you will see a unit size in box number 1. Under that, that is the number of bedrooms that you were deemed eligible for based on your choices and your family size. If you look at box number 2, you will see an issue date. Box number 3 will be the expiration date, which will be 60 days from the issue date. You have initially 60 days. If you qualify and there are still funds remaining, we can grant you 2 30-day extensions. Box number 5 will be your name. Box number 6 will be where you sign. Box 7 and 8 and 9 is my housing authority's information and my information. If you go down to the next page, which is page number 2 of the voucher, we're now going to go over the family obligations. When the box number 4A is where we'll start. When the family's unit is approved and the HAP contract is executed, the family must follow the rules listed below in order to continue participating in the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Letter B, the family must, number 1, supply any information that the PHA or HUD determines to be necessary, including evidence of citizenship or eligible immigration status, and information for use in regularly scheduled reexamination or interim reexamination of family income and composition. You must disclose and verify Social Security numbers and sign and submit consent forms for obtaining information. So with the application process that you've just been through to been found eligible, those 2 things are what you have already met. Number 3, you must supply any information requested by the Housing Authority to verify that the family is living in the unit or information related to a family absence from the unit. So if your management aide calls, they haven't seen you, you haven't been in your place, they may call just to make sure everything's okay. Number 4, promptly notify the Public Housing Authority in writing when the family is away from the unit for an extended period of time in accordance with PHA guidelines. So if you know you're going to be away, you're helping a relative, you're on vacation, whatever the case may be, I would always let your management aide know or your landlord know, because you want to make sure that they know that everything's okay. And if for some reason they don't see you around, at least they know things are fine, that you didn't just abandon your property. Number 6, notify the housing authority and the owner in writing before moving out of the unit or terminating the lease. You want to make sure that you're giving adequate notice to your landlord, and you will want to make sure that your management aide, your contact at the voucher office, is aware of what's going on so that they can help you in porting your voucher, finding another unit, whatever the case may be. You want to make sure to keep them in the loop and let them know what's going on all the time. Number 7, use the assisted unit for residence by the family. The unit must be the family's only residence. Number 8, promptly notify the housing authority in writing of the birth, adoption, or court-ordered custody of the child. You do need to report all changes within 10 days, and they must be in writing to the housing authority. Number 9, request housing authority written approval to add any family member as an occupant of the unit. So if you want to add a significant other, a spouse, a parent, a child, a grown child, they would have to go through the same background checks as you did in order to be found eligible to participate. So they're going to go through the same checks as you do. And once they're deemed that they are eligible, your management aide will let you know that as well. Number 10, promptly notify the housing authority in writing if any member no longer lives in the unit. Give public housing authority a copy of any owner eviction notices. So if a grown child moves out, a paramour moves out, a spouse, whomever moves out, and they're no longer in the place, you also want to let your housing authority know that. Talk to your management aide, again, your point of contact. They're your primary point of contact, and let them know what's going on. They may need to reevaluate your rent at that point in time. Number 11, pay utility bills and provide and maintain any appliances that the owner is not required to provide under the lease. Because part of what you're paying, your 30% is paying the utilities and paying your portion of the rent. That is part of your 30%, and you need to make sure that they are paid on time. Letter C, any information that the family supplies must be true and complete. Letter D, the family, including each family member, must not own or have any interest in the unit other than a co-op or the owner of a manufactured home, leasing a manufactured home space. They may not commit any serious or repeated violation of the lease. Number 3, they may not commit fraud, bribery, or any other corrupt or criminal act in connection with the program. Number 4, they may not engage in any drug-related criminal activity, violent criminal activity, or other criminal activity that threatens the health, safety, or right to peaceful enjoyment of other residents and persons residing in the immediate vicinity of the premises. They may not sublease or let the unit, or assign or transfer the unit. On to the next page, page 3. You may not receive any housing choice voucher program subsidy while receiving another housing subsidy for the same unit or a different unit under any other federal, state, or local housing assistance program. The family must not damage the unit or premises other than ordinary wear and tear, or permit any guests to damage the unit or premises. You must not receive the Housing Choice Voucher Program assistance while residing in a unit owned by a parent, a child, a grandparent, a grandchild, a sister or brother of any member of the family, unless the Public Housing Authority has determined and has notified the owner and the family of such determination that approving rental of this unit, notwithstanding such relationship, would provide a reasonable accommodation for a family member who is a person with a disability. So it doesn't mean it can happen. It just means you have to get permission if that rental unit that person is in would be something that is going to be beneficial to a disability of a family member that is going to be living in the unit. Number 9, they must not engage in abuse of alcohol in a way that threatens the health, safety, or right to peaceful enjoyment of other residents and persons residing in the immediate vicinity of the premises. If you understand all that and are in agreement with all that and can live with those rules and regulations, you will go back here to page number 1 and you will sign page number 1, box number 6. And then you can put that paper to the side. The next document that we're going to go over is the Housing Choice Voucher Program Occupancy Policy. This is kind of something we've already went over in the voucher, but basically it states that the Lehigh County Housing Authority Section 8 policy states that no persons other than those listed on the lease and Section 8 records shall live or stay in the unit. This is to ensure that the total tenant payment is accurately based on the total monthly income of that household. I understand that I must seek permission of the Lehigh County Housing Authority and my landlord before any individual may be added to my household composition. I agree to provide the information that may be required should I seek this permission. I understand that my landlord and the Housing Authority maintain the right to approve or deny my request for such an addition. I understand that failure to report any additional occupant could result in repayment of any housing assistance payments made on my behalf. I have also been advised that it is a policy of the Lehigh County Housing Authority to determine that any person using my residence address as a mailing address is considered to be an occupancy of my unit. No person other than those authorized to reside in the unit will use my address as their own for any purpose. This includes utility bills in any other person's name. I understand the above statement. I certify by my signature that no person is living or staying in my unit other than those whose names appear on my lease or annual reporting form. I agree to seek permission as required prior to any such addition to my household. I have been advised and understand that the violation of this occupancy policy may result in the termination of assistance under the Housing Choice Voucher Program and possible prosecution for the criminal offense of fraud. If you understand and agree to that, you will sign, the head of household will sign right under the printed head of household's name. If there's any other family members over the age of 18, they will also sign below the head of household signature. The next document we're going to take a look at talks about housing fraud. So this talks about fraud and making sure that you are reporting all your changes in your case. If you commit fraud to obtain housing assistance, you could be evicted, be required to repay all overpaid rental assistance, fined up to $10,000, imprisoned for up to 5 years, prohibited from receiving future assistance, and subject to state and local governmental penalties. It's not worth it. You've waited a long time to get your housing voucher. And we just want to make sure that you are aware of what needs to be done. So if you look here under So Be Careful, you'll see it talks about if you have any changes. You've already applied, you've already been found eligible. So now you want to be careful about changes. So any changes, all sources of income and changes in income you or any member of your household receive, such as wages, welfare payments, Social Security, veterans benefits, pensions, retirements, child support, cash assistance from welfare, Social Security for your children, a new job, savings bonds, CDs, stocks, anything that's owned that is part of income, assets, checking savings accounts. You want to make sure that anything that you have is reported. The next document that you're going to see is the Lehigh County Assisted Area. So basically what this document says is if you have received an our area voucher, then you must stay in our area for 1 year. You have to be in our area for 1 year to claim jurisdiction preference. So at that point, you have to be here in the Lehigh County, not Allentown or Bethlehem, for 1 year and rent for 1 year. After you have rented for that 1 year, your voucher will then become an anywhere voucher. And then you can do just what it says, take it anywhere out of state, out of county, wherever you would like to go. The next document that you're going to look at talks about school district and some employment information. This is just a document for your information to give you some information on our local school districts. You can absolutely look up their information on the websites. There's also a website called GREAT, www.great, G-R-E-A-T, schools, schools.org, greatschools.org. That's another place that you can find information on school districts. When in doubt, you can always call a superintendent and they will always answer questions for you. The next documents that we're going to look at talk about portability. The first one that you'll see here has some housing authority information for some local housing authorities in our area. If you are looking to move to another local housing authority, you can certainly contact them. The one after that talks about how portability works. So if you have an Anywhere voucher and you use it somewhere else, that's called porting or portability. So if that's something that you're interested in, you would want to talk to your management aide or your point of contact at the voucher office, and they can help you discuss that and how that works. The next document that you're going to see is the cover page of A Good Place to Live. This booklet that you'll find, I would say read this at your leisure. It talks about what the inspector is looking for in your rental unit. Talks about the housing quality standards that HUD requires. A unit that they are going to be helping to fund must pass that those housing quality standards. The next document, another booklet, is the lead-based paint disclosure. It says protect your family from lead in your home. Very prominent in our area. We have a lot of older homes in our area. Generally under 6 is a big issue with that because of chipping, peeling paint and lead paint poisoning. The next document that you're going to see is an apartment log. This is specifically for your own use. If you want to make notes on here, just when you're looking for something to kind of give yourself somewhere to keep all your notes in one concise spot so that as you're looking, you have something to refer back to. The next document that you're going to see here is actually another packet. This is a packet called Information for Landlords and Apartment Owners. So this document is if you have a landlord or someone you're speaking to who says, I've never heard of Section 8. How does the program work? I would consider taking it. I would like to get some information. This is a great pamphlet that you can give them, packet of papers that you can give them that answers a lot of their questions. It kind of gives them some information on how the program works and kind of what we do, what their role is, what our role is. So that is definitely something that you can give them. And that's about a few pages long. Next document that you're going to see is the Fair Housing booklet. Landlords discriminate every day without realizing it. They are human too. This talks about ways that landlords discriminate. We want to make sure that as an applicant, that you are not being discriminated against, and yet that you do know what your rights are in housing. The next document that you're going to look at, and we're going to use 3 of them together. Your first one is going to say example unit, and you'll see that here. So if you'll take that one out. Second one is this one here that says estimating tenant rent. And the third one is going to look like a grid with lots of numbers on it that says Section 8 utility allowances for tenant furnished utilities. And if you can put them side by side, that would be very helpful in going over them. So if you look at this first document, you will see this is an example unit. So we talked about receiving your voucher. You've now got a voucher. So Mr. Smith receives a voucher to search for a 3-bedroom unit. He finds a unit that is a 3-bedroom inner row townhome, and the tenant will have to pay for heat and hot water, which are both electric, as well as basic electric and cooking. The rent for this unit is $1,100, and the landlord pays for the water, sewer, and trash. So we're going to take a look. I'm going to go down to this paper here that talks about utility allowances. So keep in mind, or write yourself a note, that the landlord is going to charge $1,100 for the rent. Okay, if you look at this second page, which is estimating tenant rent, you will see that the 3-bedroom payment standard is $1,459. So Mr. Smith found this unit. He has to pay heat and hot water, which are both electric. If we look at this document right here, you will see that he's paying heat and hot water, which are both electric. You will see that that this document here Under heating in a row, you'll see electric. And then we will go right here, heating electric. You will see right here that this number of $124 is going to be the first thing that you'll see. So that's the electric heating, that's $124. The next thing that we're going to look at is the hot water down here a little further. Okay, so we have water heating. We have right here water heating. Water heating. Yeah, water heating here. And then you'll see it talks about electric. So right here is the water heating electric. And we're going to go over here to the 3-bedroom, which will be the $34. I'm sorry. Yeah, the $43. I apologize. So we're going to keep those numbers aside. That will be the $43 for that. Then we're going to look and see that Mr. Smith is also going to pay for basic electric and cooking. His basic electric, if you look down here at other electric, you will see the basic electric for lighting is $50 right here. And then under that, you will see the air condition, which is $20. So these will be two numbers that will get added in with our utility allowance. And then the one last thing that we're going to look at is you'll see cooking right above that. And the electric for cooking is right here. You'll see that's $7. So if we add all those numbers up, including at the bottom down here, at the bottom under the chart, you will see a service charge for gas and or electric. In this case, Mr. Smith does not have gas. He only has electric. So he would pay the electric service charge in accordance with this. So if we look at all those utilities, which is the $124 for heat, $7 for cooking, the basic electric, which is lights, fridge, and any items plugged in, which is $50, air conditioning of $20, hot water of $43, and electric service fee from the electric company of $16, the total utility costs would be $260. So what we're going to do with that $260, we're going to add that $260 with the $1,100 that they want to charge Mr. Smith for rent. So the $260 plus the $1,100 would be $1,360, gross rent of $1,360. The payment standard, as we saw for a three-bedroom unit, is $1,459 with all utilities included. So this unit would be within the allowable payment standard. If the utilities plus rent exceed the payment standards, you can go up to 40% of out of your pocket. So you will have to pay 30% of your income. That's a given. Everybody will pay the 30% of their income. However, you are allowed to pay an extra 10% if the rent goes a little bit over and you need to make up a little bit. Just be cautious. You don't want to overextend yourself. God forbid you lose a job, you change a job, that kind of thing. So the next thing you're going to look at down here, so that kind of explains how the payment standards work. How to determine your rent portion. So your rent portion is going to be 30% of your income. For example, if your income is $1,000 a month, your 30% payment would be $300. Since the total tenant payment, that 30% is for rent and pay and utilities, the rent would be determined by taking $260 of total utilities, which is what we just said Mr. Smith will be responsible for, and subtracting those from the $300, which is the estimated 30% that's going to be of his income, coming up with $40, taking the $300 with the minus the $260, which is the utilities for the month, and that would come up with $40 rent to the landlord. So basically you would be paying the $260 toward the utilities, and then $40 would be going to the landlord. That would be your portion of the rent. There are also times that you may find a unit of a larger bedroom size than the bedroom size listed on your voucher. This may be allowable as long as the rent and utilities are within the allowable payment standard for the bedroom listed. If you find a smaller unit, the smaller payment standard would be used. So the next document that we're going to look at is going to be another packet of documents. This is going to be very important to you. This packet should have a colored first page, and that would signify this particular packet that we're looking at. This is called What Happens When You Find a Place to Rent. And you'll see there are 7 steps on here. And it talks about, okay, I found a place to rent. I've got a landlord who agreed to take Section 8. What do I do now? So this is called the packet with the RTA, or request for tenancy approval, and there are 3 attachments. So you are going to ask a landlord to fill out this packet of papers. This is going to be where you start. So this packet of papers, this is a HUD form. This packet of papers is what the landlord is going to fill out for you to rent from him. Pay close attention to what is written on this document. Proposed rent is box number 6. You want to, of course, be cautious and make sure that the landlord put the correct rent that he or she quoted you or was advertised. Box number 7, there should never be any more than 1 month. As a participant in the Housing Choice Voucher Program, a landlord is not allowed to charge more than 1 month security. They will fill out the remainder of this packet here talking about their home that they're going to rent you, and then you'll get to the bottom of the paper. At the bottom of the paper here, number 11, the bottom half of the sheet says utilities and appliances. This is basically the landlord saying what you are responsible for and what he or she is responsible for. So over here on the left-hand side, you will see right where they have here on the left side, you will see all the utilities. So that will be right here. This will be all the utilities. If you go across here, you'll see right here that it talks about what kind of utilities. Is it natural gas and that kind of thing? Is it electric? And then over here in this column, it's going to be either O for owner or T for tenant. This talks about who is providing or who is paying for that service. Down here, you will see refrigerator and microwave or range. That talks about who's providing that, and it'll be, again, O for owner right here. On this side, O for owner, T for tenant. That'll be who is responsible to provide those appliances. Back here on the second page of that document, you will see this box right here on the bottom is going to be, this side will be the landlord's information, and then this second side here will be the tenant's or applicant's information. This will be your information. That's where you're going to sign and say, yes, I have read this document that you filled out, this here application, and I am in agreement with whatever you have on this document. The next page is attachment 1 to the request for tenancy approval. Talks about previous landlord and most recent landlord for the tenant. So that would be something that you will put on there. The next one is a lead-based paint disclosure. This talks about if the landlord is aware of any lead-based paint in the home, they do have to disclose that, whether it be lead-based paint in the walls or lead pipes. Attachment number 3 is the housing authority saying to the landlord, do you owe any municipal, county, or city or school district taxes? Do you owe any back utility bills, municipal utility bills, water, sewer, garbage? We want to make sure that we put you in a situation where you can succeed and not somewhere where you're going to get thrown out because they forgot to pay their bills for the last 6 months. We want to set you up for success. Next document that you're going to see is called VAWA. This is called the Violence Against Women Act. This is in regard to domestic violence, dating violence, or stalking. It does apply to both men or women, contrary to being the Violence Against Women Act. It does apply to both genders. So you have this trifold, and then after that, you will have the VAWA policy, our agency's violence against women policy. That talks about how we can help to protect you if this comes an issue for you. You would talk to your management aide about that, and they could work with you on obtaining whatever help we would be able to provide for you. The last page in the document that you're going to see says Section 8 Voucher Program Information. So this document has all of the information. We do not have your management aide's name on this particular screen. However, the page that is in your packet is going to have all the absolutely the management aide's names, so you will know who you have as a management aide. So depending on where you are in the alphabet, that's going to be where you are and which management aide you have. This document right here provides the information for the phone number, the fax number, the mailing address, the physical office location, and the office hours, the normal office hours for the voucher office. Should you need anything, your management aide is going to be your point of contact as of today. Once you have your voucher, your file will now be transferred to the Section 8 Voucher Program Office, which again is listed here, located at 120 North 3rd Street in the rear at Emmaus. Their mailing address there is 333 Ridge Street in Emmaus. You'll see that here as well. And their phone, fax, and office hours are there. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to your management aide. They are your point of contact at this point and are there to help you through this process. Thank you so much. Good luck and have a wonderful day.